the word caliphate comes from the Arabic khilafa, meaning exactly that, a caliphate, and the Khalifa is the successor to the Prophet Muhammad. And purists consider that the Golden Age was the first 4 divinely guided caliphs who followed the Prophet Muhammad, and that things were never quite as pure Islamically after that. The last caliphate was abolished 90 years ago after the First World War. It was the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, and jihadists, as you rightly say, have been trying to create this ever since. And with some justification, they say that the borders of the modern Middle East were drawn up by colonialists, by Britain and France, after the First World War. And what they've done here is essentially bulldoze through the Syrian-Iraqi border to abolish it and control this land between them. But they may well be exceeding themselves. I mean, I think it's highly unlikely that Muslims outside their territory will want to pledge allegiance to such a violent man as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He does not stand for what most Muslims stand for.
And do they have the capacity to control, in theory, a state, a country?
Well, they've got the money and they've got the weapons. So for now, yes, they do. They've looted Mosul's banks. They've taken about $420 million from those. They've got a very large amount of weaponry that they have looted. They've got donations coming from private donors in the Gulf states, particularly Saudi Arabia, not from the government, but from private donors. And they are seen by many as the protectors of Sunnis against the Shia in Iraq, which is backed by Iran. So they've got some powerful allies. What really matters now is how they rule. If they're going to be draconian and not allowing people to smoke cigarettes or have music, and they're going to force women to stay indoors, then I think that they will make themselves very unpopular very quickly with the tribes. But if they rule sensibly, they are capable of holding on to quite a large amount of territory in eastern Syria and western Iraq.
And Mike, this suggestion by Mike Waldridge that they could divide the groups that are fighting at the moment, how does that work?
Well, what has been known up until this weekend as ISIS, which they've now renamed themselves Islamic State, Dar al-Islam or al-Islamiyya, they are not popular with the rival rebel groups in Syria. So Jabhat al-Nusra, for example, which up until recently was the most effective group, they've been rather eclipsed by ISIS, but they are effectively rivals. It'll be really interesting to see, do they pledge allegiance to them? Because they are al-Qaeda's main ally, and yet al-Qaeda, whose leadership is sitting in Pakistan, has disassociated itself from ISIS because of its extreme brutality and because they're not following orders, basically. So this is a kind of renegade group that's split off and is having enormous military success, and therefore is very attractive to foreign fighters coming from places like Britain and Europe who want to join it because it's achieving so much success and doing something on the battlefield.